YouTube? We're on to Acoustic Corner again. This is Tuesday, but no Trade Tuesday. That's us hit another lockdown, so everyone just stay safe. I'm really getting pretty cheesed off with it, but not as cheesed off as I am with the deniers and all that. So new thing. Let's be a bit happier about everything. So I looked at my 12 string. Yes. This, I want to put a wee shout out to Elixir Strings, actually, because they sponsor me. No, of course they don't. My God, I had to pay 20 quid for the set of these. But that was about 10 years ago, and this guitar has been sitting in a case, so I think there's a definite something to be said for if you're going to be storing a guitar, store it in a nice hard case, and it stays alright. It was kind of very nearly in tune. It wasn't miles out of tune when I picked it out, and it's not been played in, I would think, 5 years anyway, and even then, when I bought it, I used it a lot for recording, because it's amazing for putting in a backing track, you know, for putting in, rather than putting in acoustic chords in your song, you put this in, it sounds like you've got an orchestra playing. Amazing. But it's quite hard work, a 12 string. It kind of, what I was saying before about, you know, trying to learn to play the acoustic properly rather than just playing open chords. This is so much more. Just playing open chords, it's really quite difficult to play up high because it's an acoustic. Well, the action on it's not bad, but I mean for this one, so this is a Yamaha. It says on it FG720-S/12. So the 7 series. So this is an S for the solid top, so it's got a solid spruce top on it. I actually bought this brand spanking new. My pal has asked me what kind of guitar I should buy. This is 10-15 years ago. I was like, Yamaha acoustics. If you're going for acoustics, no. My first acoustic was a Yamaha, which I've not yet dug out. The reason I didn't do that today is because I'm going to have to do fretwork on it because I know the frets on it are knackered down at the bottom. So that's what I couldn't board. I did frets on that guitar last night. I can't bother doing frets again today. I maybe do it later on. Yeah. So I bought this brand new. I think it was 180 quid, and I went round all the shops in Glasgow trying all the different 12 stringers because I'd already told my pal to buy a Yamaha. He bought it 6 months before this or something. He bought a 720-S EC or CE because his was electroacoustic. It was a 6 string electroacoustic and it had a cutaway, which this one doesn't have. But it's still basically the same guitar apart from the 6 string version not cutaway. No, it's the 6 string version cutaway and with electrics built in. So I bought the just acoustic one because it was cheaper, much cheaper, and I cut into it when it was less than a week old, putting this in. It's like, yeah, I'll just go and buy a brand spanking new guitar and then literally use a hacksaw blade to cut out this thing. So this is an Artec preamp, an HT-TBL triphonic blender equalizer. Yeah. What this one does is, like the one in my other guitar, which I'm not sure yet, see it's got a microphone that sits in the back here. So this one has a mic. It's got the undersaddle piezo bridge, but it's also got a magnetic pickup that fits into the sound hole. You know, like you get one called a Woody or something like that kind of idea that fits in here, but I basically never used that because what I found is that, maybe it's with all guitars, but especially this one, when you put a pickup over half the sound hole, it makes the guitar half the volume when you're playing it in the room. I mean, I think for recording it might be really useful, or maybe playing a gig, but if you're sitting, this was basically used for when I was having jams up at my house and it was pretty much not me that played it. And I found that when you put the pickup over it, it's like covering up half the sound hole, so it's not in it. I do still have it lying about somewhere that plugs into the back. And this thing has you've got like a volume piezo, then you've got a mic and the magnetic and a blend, and then a 3-band EQ, which is good for recording, but acoustics are quite loud anyway, so if you're having an acoustic jam around at the house, you kind of set it to be the level of the acoustic guitars anyway, so you know there's not really any point, and you don't want to be miking stuff up, that's just been silly. Yeah, so this has survived amazingly well. These strings actually still sound alright considering they must be 10 years old and they've not even been played in 5 years. I gave them a wee bit of a wipe with a fast fret and then a bit of a wipe, and that was really it. The only thing that's really happened to this is the machine heads have kind of started to go a little bit corrody. I'll give them a clean before I put this back away again. So the machine heads have kind of reacted a little bit. They feel quite old, but I mean the guitar is basically brand new. My pal's one, the last time I saw his one and my one together was like 5 years ago, and his had gone brown, more like this colour, whereas this one's still very, very bright looking, so I think his has had UV damage, whereas this, although it wasn't sitting in the case for years, it was sitting in a rack thing, so it was only the edge that was ever exposed, really, to any sort of light, so it's kind of stayed quite bright. I'm actually wondering if I could have brought that. I wonder how well I did at cutting this down, because I didn't know what I was doing with my guitars when I cut this thing up. I should probably maybe be able to sand a little bit more off the bridge and put it back in again. Maybe do that at some point when I buy strings for this, if I ever get down to it. So, yeah, 12 stringers. I'm just going to have a wee bit of a jam on it. This one actually plugs in, so I'm going to be able to, I'll put a wee bit of a loop in rather than using my mic system. This should be a little bit easier. But they do sound huge. It's actually quite weird having a guitar that actually, like a guitar solo that actually sounds pretty. I mean, it really is. There's cat steams in it. So actually I meant to say, someone commented on my video the other day I was doing, I think the one I pulled, the sort of short, the temporary acoustic video, I should buy an acoustic Elixir strings, and I was against it, but the reason for that is, warning, see when you're buying Elixir strings, just any of them, there's a lot of fake ones kicking about. So if you see Elixir strings on eBay and you think, oh, Elixir strings are like 12 quid a pack, it'd be more for the 12 string ones, it's like 12, 13 quid a pack, and you see them and they're like, they're only 9 quid a pack. Oh, that's great, what a great buy. Look at the seller, because a lot of the time you see the ones at 7 quid and 9 quid a pack, and the seller's got like 5 feedback stars and doesn't sell anything else. It's like, So basically, if you're going to buy Elixir strings, rather than risking, buying them for 7, 8, 10 quid or whatever, look and make sure that when you're buying them, I used to buy them from a place in Clydebank, it was something trading limited in Clydebank, and you look on their eBay page and they're selling lots of different types of strings and capos and stuff like that, and they've got like 2,000 feedback stars. Buy strings from them. It's well worthwhile doing that. And as I said, there's another place that was in Rotherham. I used to always buy strings. I think it's just because they were 50 pence cheaper than everyone else. You know what I mean? But it was the same thing, and it was like, you go and it's basically a music shop that's been running for years, so they've got a reputation. So buy them from them. Don't buy from people who sell, they look at it and all they've got is 2 or 3 sets of strings and they've got 20 feedback stars, because basically what they've done is they bought a packet of these fake ones, and then they're selling them off, bought them for a couple of quid each, sell them off for 7 quid each, and then once they get too many complaints, they'll just pull that eBay thing. It might be the same guy that keeps doing it actually, but if you look on eBay just now, I bet you, well, I haven't actually, but so I'm not putting any money up, because I never bet on anything, but make sure that you're looking, you don't buy fake ones, because I think what they do is the packets look the same. It's only when you actually take the strings out, you just go, these aren't Elixirs, because Elixirs have got that sort of rubbery coating on them, and it's like, you don't have a rubbery coating on them, and they're just not good. They're actually worse than not coated strings. So it's not like you're going, oh, rather than buying, the coated rust-free Elixirs for 12 quid a pack, I'm getting them for 7 quid a pack. So you're not paying 7 quid for like the equivalent, like Didarios or something like that, which would probably be like 6 or 7 quid a set for. You're not buying them. You're buying the strings that cost £1. The really rubbish ones that they put in the Elixir pack and then sell you for. So fair warning. I will be buying a couple of sets. I'm going to decide maybe which acoustic I like best. Try and have an acoustic out and just try and use it a little bit more. I'm not going to be very good at this, but I'm going to try and play a wee song here. See, one of the problems I always find with the 12 string is because it's thunderously amazing, you're playing back and big chords, when you go to playing leads, it's a bit thin, quite a lot missing. That's me when I'm going to try and learn to play chords up here. Right, see if I get a copyright strike for this. It don't come easy. No, it don't come easy. It don't come easy. No, it don't come easy. Got to pay your dues if you wanna sing the blues, and you know it don't come easy. You don't have to shout or jump about. You can even play them easy. Forget about the past and what you're saying. The future won't last if you're brave enough to take it. And don't ask for much, I only want to trust. And you know it don't come easy. This love of mine keeps going all the time, and you know it don't come easy. Remember this is what I'm saying. It's within your grasp. You're big enough to take it. Try and stay there, rhythm tracking. It sounds quite big now, doesn't it? Amplify a bit more. play living thing on this as well, which was great fun. Yeah. One thing I am noticing, which is, it shows you how long since I really played this properly. When I said 10 years, I wonder if it was longer than that. I'm struggling a little bit with, alternate picking, which is something I never really knew about. I think it was probably up until maybe when I got YouTube. It's like someone saying, alternate picking, you can basically, if you don't alternate pick, but maybe not on a 12 string, because the difference is if you hit a string down the way, you're hitting the thin string first, but if you hit it up the way, so you get kind of, it doesn't sound the same because you're hitting a different string, whereas obviously on a normal guitar, when you hit up and down, it doesn't really make any difference. It just means you can rattle through it. So basically, if you don't alternate pick, that means going up and down. Learn how to do it, because you'll find things get so much easier. I mean, that's so much easier than that's down. Obviously, it doesn't sound any different here because on a 12 string, the B and the E strings are just unison, so they're just both the same. Or should be. Whereas this one, you've got the octaves. The other thing is, be careful with 12 strings. You see a lot of them. See if you see like a 12 string and you think, oh brilliant, 12 string, 50 quid, what can go wrong? The thing is, like, see like a 12 stringer, right, there's a lot of pressure, twice as much, well not twice as much, but an awful lot more of the strings pulling the neck up and pulling the bridge up. So it's quite common, especially on a cheap 12 stringer anyway, to be a bit rubbish. I would really recommend looking at starting at basically like just buying a new Yamaha, because when I was looking at 12, I was looking at second hand ones and stuff like that, and even if you get one that's like a really good buy, but it's maybe 20 years old or 30 years old, this is probably, but you know what I mean. There's a chances are it's going to be quite bellied, and it's not the best idea. So I would just buy a new Yamaha one. And I did try every guitar in all the shops in Glasgow before this one came up, and it was kind of the one I thought I was going to be getting. I kind of didn't want to get it because it was exactly the same as my pals, apart from, as I said, was cutaway and stuff, and only 6 string. But what a difference this was between all the other 12 stringers I tried. It was actually a very similar experience to when I went in on my 18th birthday. I went into town, I went into McCormick's in Glasgow and tried every single acoustic guitar between 100 quid and 300 quid. And basically I could only play for 6 months, so I was just kind of right, next. And I went through all of them, and the best guitar they had was a Yamaha FG720-S, which it was, and that was before this one. So this one, I think although this is a 7 series and the other one's a 4 series, normally you'd think like a 4 is much lower than a 7, but I think it's a kind of, because it's more modern, it's a very similar, it's like an updated version rather than being a higher end model. But, it gets in, and when you get to this point, you've got at this sort of price, you get a solid top, which I think is important for an acoustic, although whether that's just voodoo and stuff I've read and been told, I don't know. There'll be laminate sides, but I think that the top's the most important bit. So if you can get one with a solid top, any acoustic, that's a good thing. And it's got the sort of, the sort of sealed tuners rather than being the rubbishy type. Not the nicest colour. It's a sort of, I don't know what colour you would call that. Actually, look at the herringbone pattern on that. It's quite pretty. Yeah. So, am I going to spend today playing the 12 stringer? It's hard work. I've got a feeling this might be going back in its case, and then it'll be getting after I've had a month of trying to play acoustic and maybe learn it a little bit, or I'll maybe use that as a gateway into this, or maybe if I start recording something. Mind you, I probably should start recording. I was thinking about it just because, lockdown. So it's kind of killed the trade thing. I don't want to be going out flaunting rules unless if you want to sell me a guitar for a trade thing, or want to trade for something, then shout me up. But be local, sort of thing, and have some excuse to be in this region. I'm not doing the whole driving to, Falkirk and Edinburgh and all that. It's just I can't justify it, not for January anyway. I'm totally keeping myself isolated. I'm going out. I think I've been out twice this year. Anyway, before that lockdown get announced. So just hopefully this will end and we'll all be happy again. And I was going to say hopefully this video is a little bit of sunlight that isn't anything to do with watching the news and stuff like that. But then now I'm complaining about it, so I will not mention it again until it's over. It will be nothing but sunshine and happiness and forgetting about the news. Oh, I was going to play. I'm going to try and work out how to play the Mandalorian on something. So I'm trying to have a wee break from playing Strats, because I was actually looking to see the amount of Strats I've got. It's pure silly. I was like just sitting there thinking, when I got the Blazer, it was like, yeah, I was like, I don't actually have a proper Strat. It's like, of course I do. I've got quite a few Stratty guitars, and now that I'm kind of warmed to it a bit, I think the intro was that Squire Bullet. Once I've decided I like that Squire Bullet, I kind of suddenly went, oh, that whole single coil, it's been maybe a little bit unforgiving, a Strat, when you're playing it clean or you're using the thin sound, it's not as easy to play perhaps, or it doesn't sound as good. It shows up your mistakes more, maybe that's the way I should be looking at it. I've actually got quite a few guitars that I've never really bonded with, but I think because they had that sound, and now I'm sitting there thinking that's maybe the reason I never really got on with it that well, is because it's a Strat type thing. The 12-stringers sound amazing if you're having a band, if you're putting it on a recording. It's just fantastic for strumming along in the background thing, and for acoustic jams and just all that stuff. It's great. And it is probably worthwhile buying Elixir strings on it, because this is 10 years old. Okay, they don't look fantastic. They're kind of a bit muted looking. There's sort of fur growing on them a little bit, but they still sound alright. I also find it, I've been playing a wee bit there, so letting things ring an awful lot more is great in a 12-stringer. It's actually hurting my fingers a little bit. A little lightweight. Rock on, stay safe, catch you later.